Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Anthony Taylor Poetry Show. This is a special poetry show. It's episode number 60. Happy Thanksgiving. Today is November 24th, 2016. It is an overcast Thursday afternoon in New York City. By me saying that this is a special Anthony Taylor Poetry Show, I'm going to read some, how can I say, some poems from previous books that I have, poetry books that I have written. And I'm going to be reading a special poem that was written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. And that poem is entitled Break, Break, Break. The other poems I'll be reading will be from my book, my first book that I ever published, Human Expressions by Anthony Taylor. Then my second poetry book, I'll be reading some tidbit poems, Let's Go on a Sentimental Journey. And then I'll be reading some poems from my latest chapbook. This is my second chapbook, which is published by North Star Publishing. And the title of this chapbook is called Young Folks, Poems Inspired by the Young Generation of Today for Tomorrow. Now I'm going to read Break, Break, Break. Break, break, break. On that cold gray stones, O sea, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Oh well for the fisherman's boy, that he shouts with his sister at play. Oh well for the sailor lad, that he sings in his boat on the bay. And the stately ships goes on to their haven under the hill. But oh for the touch of a vanished hand, and the sound of a voice that is still. Break, 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 at the foot of thy crags, O sea. But the tender grace of a day that is dead will never come back to me. And that poem is entitled, as I stated, Break, 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 written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, and is in a collection of a folio anthology of poetry. Excuse me. This poem is entitled Thinking of My Baby, and is taken from Human Expressions. Thinking of my baby. Baby, baby, where did our love go when I went to college to study in order to make a better life for ourselves? When I eat breakfast in the morning on the campus, the only thing I think about is you. I'm thinking of my baby. Thinking of my baby when I go to classes.
Thinking of my baby.
Thinking of the good times we shared together while we were in high school. Thinking about the love we shared and the hopes and dreams we shared while in high school.
Baby.
Preparing for the future. Thinking of my baby.
Thinking of my baby.
Thinking of my baby. Those days are gone now, because I'm not there to love you, guide you, and teach you. But I still love you. I will always love you. That's why I'm thinking of my baby. I know now that your love is distant from me, because I have started a new life. But I cannot stop thinking of my baby. I'm hoping that one day you will reach out your hand and your former love of me towards me, and I'll be there to catch it. Your love left a fire burning within me. I cannot extinguish it. Call the police department. Call the fire department. But stop.
Thinking of my baby. Thinking of my baby. Thinking of my baby. I'm thinking of my baby. I'm thinking of my baby.
The next poem is entitled Unfortunate Child, which is taken from Let's Go on a Sentimental Journey. Unfortunate child, This love we have for each other, we share it when we kiss, when we fight, when we shop, when we wake up in the morning, and when we make love. While we are making love, do you think we should contemplate about our actions because they can produce an unfortunate child? An unfortunate child a world does not need. Why bring a child into this world when we are not educationally and financially able to take care of the child? Love is good and sweet, and when we express it, it is delicious. If we are not able to take care of the child, our love making has no value pertaining to the child. We produce an unfortunate child. A child no one can love, nurture, and cherish. When we have a child, we do not want to produce an unfortunate child. We want to produce a child who is loved emotionally and financially. We want a child that can think clearly, to become a responsible adult, to help heal the world of its problems. We want a child that can love and be loved. The world is full of misfortunes. There is no further need to add to its misery. Unfortunate child we do not need. When we go to bed to make love, let us understand the consequences of our actions. Unfortunate child we do not need. The next poem is entitled, I Feel Happy, I Feel Happy. I feel happy, I feel happy. I feel happy and glad that I reached my 20th anniversary of graduating from college. When I graduated from college, I was on top of the world. I was young, attractive, and ambitious, ready to take on the world at that time. I spent some of the best years of my life in college and some of the best years of my life after the completion of my degree. I feel happy, I feel happy. Looking back over my yesteryears, I would never have dreamt of being on a trustee board of a church. I feel happy, I feel happy. It's hard to think back on how I landed my first job. I think about all the angels and saints that God has sent me during those years. And He still continues to do so today. I feel happy, I feel happy. I feel happy that my life, thank God, up to this point has not been in vain. I laid a foundation in which someone can see the light of hope. I feel happy, I feel happy. I feel happy. I was blessed to work on 3 major motion pictures. I feel happy, I feel happy. I cannot begin to tell or count how many blessings God has given me. I feel happy. I feel happy that college did play a role in my life and that today it is one of the most treasured landmarks of my life. I feel happy, I feel happy because landmarks are continuously laid after I leave my footprints in the sands of life. And the last poem that will be read from this book, Let's Go on a Sentimental Journey, is entitled Sizzle. And by the way, this poem, Sizzle, is dedicated to my years when I was in high school during the 1970s. And I won't go no further than that because I'll be telling you my age. But I was a high school student in the 1970s. It was in the early 70s. So that leads you to think that it's either the mid 70s or the late 1970s. But this is the title of the poem, and this is entitled Sizzle. Sizzle. I remember those days when music was pressed on vinyl. We had 2 formats of vinyl when I was in high school. We had the 45 RPM record, which was about 4 to 5 inches in diameter, and we had the 33 RPM record, which was 12 inches in diameter. With both of these formats, music sizzled during the late 1970s. Disco was the popular music at that time. The 45 RPM record will contain the short version of the disco song. Disco was a form of music that was geared to dancing, while at the same time maintaining the style of the love ballads of the 50s and 60s. People would go to the discotheque to dance and mingle with people. For me, the radio station was my second home because it delivered all the disco hits without going to a discotheque. The radio station was sizzled with hits like the following: 1975, This Will Be; 1976, You Should Be Dancing; also 1976, Disco Duck; and this beloved song by my beautiful Diana Ross, Love Hangover. Also in 1976, I Like to Do It. Also 1976, Let's Go Disco. 1977, I Feel Love. And 1979, by one of the greatest disco groups of all time, Chic, Everybody Dance, Clap Your Hands. There were many, many disco hits, too long of a list to mention here. In any event, when these new songs were released, the disc jockeys played these songs until they sizzled on the turntable and made people go to the record shops to purchase these records. During the late 1970s, stations played music until it sizzled, sizzled, sizzled. It was commonplace for record buyers during the 1970s to purchase 45s and 33s of the same song if the song were a great hit. If it were a great hit, the song sizzled on both formats, 45s and 33s. Sizzle. Now we're coming to the conclusion of this special Anthony Taylor Poetry Show in tribute to some of my past poetry that I have written. And this is my most current poetry that I have written. And I'm going to read two poems. The first poem is entitled, let's read this one first. The first poem is entitled, In the First Place, Mr. Taylor, What Are You Doing Coming Out of College Without a Job? Mr. Taylor, you are working for us temporarily. In the first place, A. Taylor, what are you doing coming out of college without a job? College is to prepare you for the job or career line, not the unemployment line. College is a stepping stone to the better things in life, such as a mansion, limousine, clothes, and jewels, not to subscribe to the lesser things in life, such as an apartment, riding public transportation, or wearing less expensive clothes. What are you doing coming out of college without a job? Were applications sent out to various prospective employers before you graduated from your university? Didn't recruiters come to your campus looking for fresh employees to start work for them? The answer to those questions is yes. Applications were sent and recruiters came to the campus looking for fresh or new employees. Therefore, the answer to my coming out of college without a job or career is unknown. The question should be restated. In the first place, Mr. Taylor, where is the job or career that you studied and labored so hard to get and was not rewarded? And the last poem of the show, and the last poem from my latest chapbook, is entitled Liftoff. Liftoff. How often did I hear those words? Liftoff. From the Sci-Fi series Lost in Space. I will never forget the Jupiter 2 spacecraft as it ignited its engines to thrust the spacecraft into deep space. Liftoff, words spoken by Commander Professor John Robinson of the Jupiter 2. The spacecraft thrust itself into space with its engines roaring like music playing in a symphony. Liftoff, the words spoken from Cape Kennedy concerning the Apollo missions when the Saturn V rockets will propel the spacecraft into orbit and then to the moon. The nuclear rocket engines glistening with fire, smoke and ice. Liftoff. What a term to use when man wants to accomplish the unaccomplished. Liftoff. Plan the project, push the project, propel the project, and reap the benefits of the project. Liftoff. I hope you have enjoyed this special Anthony Taylor Poetry Show. I most certainly have. I have read a variety of my poems from various books that I have written. If you're interested in purchasing any of my poetry works, you can email me, Anthony Taylor 196141 at yahoo.com. I'll be more than happy to send you applications and forms to put in an order for my various books. Thank you, and have a pleasant evening and a most joyous holiday. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.